Final Cavs topic of the YouTube show before we head over to WKYC and talk about it more is going to be, can the Cavs replicate their Game 2 performance in Games 3, 4, 5, and 7 if it comes? And Jay, you asked the question about the Celtics shooting, the Cavs shooting. Steve, you take this graphic here. This is a little breakdown of the shots, shot percentage, and NBA tracking data. The Cavs on open three-point shots were 10 of 22. The Celtics, 7 of 27. The Celtics were the highest rated and highest percentage of open three-point makes team during the regular season. So they had
so of their 35 threes, 27 of them were open?
Yeah, I mean, that's not totally typical or untypical, excuse me. It's based on tracking data, and they consider open by whether there's 4 feet of space between the defender.
Yeah. Okay.
However, the Cavs made a big adjustment, and J.B. Bickerstaff gets credit for this in how they defended Boston in Game 1 versus Game 2. I'll preface that with saying Boston missed a bunch of open shots. It happens. Boston did not shoot the ball well last night. Peyton Pritchard, Derrick White missed some shots that they made easily in Game 1 and would probably make more often than not in Game 2, in Game 3, whatever. Boston heard exactly what Bull said yesterday, where Evan Mobley can't protect the rim. And J.B. Bickerstaff, instead of allowing guys to float on the perimeter, the Cavs closed out and dared Boston to drive past them.
Yeah, I thought that too.
They were begging Boston to pass up open threes and try to get to the rim. They funneled everything towards Evan Mobley, who did a terrific job of contesting shots, impacting the ability to get an open look at the rim. And
sometimes
that's where
just
Mobley's
changing a
defense
shot,
comes into
too.
play. That's what I'm saying.
Because that's not really measured in a box
Yeah, it's not
score.
deflections,
However,
but they forced Boston to, instead of catch and shoot, catch and move, which they didn't do in Game 1. They were very content with letting Boston catch and shoot.
He caught a quick 4 fouls, which is
that's a byproduct of what he's talking about.
Right. Yeah. So I thought one of them was a tic-tac foul.
The third one.
They should have challenged the third foul.
They were saying that on the broadcast.
They should have challenged it.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
What's interesting about that, Mike, is
I'll ask you guys. No, you go. Sorry.
So if you look at those numbers, the stats for the threes, they would have had to have hit 8 more three-pointers to tie the Cavs. But if you look at these numbers, that would still be around the same shooting percentage that the Cavaliers had from three-point range. So that's a little scary. So all they would have had to do is, because the Cavs were below 50% from three, but if they would have shot from three what the Cavs shot from three, they win the game.
The Cavs shot 38% from three at home. They shot 35% from three on the road during the regular season. They shot 47% last night. So they had a good shooting night. Yeah. Boston had a bad shooting night.
That's the part that, for me, is not repeatable.
Aren't the Cavs the worst three-point shooting team left in the playoffs?
They are.
Left in the playoffs, I do believe. Orlando was worse. New Orleans was worse during the regular season.
Yeah.
Well, even in the playoffs.
Well, playoffs and regular season.
Yes.
I think the preface is that, like, the Cavs have a chance to win in this series each game if they can hit 13 to 15 threes.
I agree.
If they don't hit 13 above 12, 13, 14, 15 threes, it's going to be very tough for them to score, because then you're counting on Mobley, you're counting on Okoro, guys finishing around the rim when they may not give you the whistle, finish it in traffic. I think they got to hit 12 to 15 threes.
I mean, that's what the NBA is about now.
It's a three-point shooting contest.
Yeah.
And you make it very difficult on yourself to win, ask Orlando, when you're not hitting those shots. That's the graphic I was talking about, guys. Yeah. And if you look at that, what's stunning to me is the Cavs were the lowest in the regular season.
Yeah.
They are the lowest by far in the playoffs.
That's
and their
pre-last night, by the way. Just so everyone knows, that's pre-last night. That does not include last night.
No, I know.
So they'd be a little higher than
They would be higher, but I bet they'd still be last.
Yeah, because Dallas shot really well from three last night.
And the top four teams on this list overall have been the 4 most impressive teams in the playoffs.
And if you look at those,
you're absolutely right.
Pacers.
What's that, Mike?
Not the Pacers.
No, the Thunder, Knicks, Celtics, and Wolves.
Yeah.
Well, the Knicks aren't top.
Like, I know Denver and Dallas, what are they? Denver.
No, I'm talking about where they are in the playoffs.
Now.
Right now, where they're positioned. I mean, if you
I was
look
looking
at
the left side of the list. I apologize. I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta shoot threes.
Yeah.
That's it. And what I think the most disappointing thing about the offseason was they went out and got guys that were. Now Strus hit some last night.
He hit 2. He was 2 for 7, but they were 2 big threes.
He was the reason that Miami beat Boston last year.
Yeah, he's been
so
bad.
I kind of thought, wow, he's one of those guys in baseball. You know how sometimes you'll go out and you'll get a pitcher that one of your division rivals or maybe your league rivals has a really tough time for, and that move is made specifically for October. I kind of felt like with Strus, they know that they're going to have to get by Boston at some point, and he's the Boston killer.
Right.
And he hasn't been good enough in this series
Can you
yet.
throw that graphic up with the 3-point guys again?
The lines?
The lines right here. See, each one of these guys, what do they got in common? Look at the Thunder, right? Chet Holmgren can shoot. He's a big man. The Celtics got Al Horford who can shoot. He's a big man. T-Wolves got Cat. He's a big man. Miles Turner can shoot. Joker can shoot.
The Knicks
don't
The Knicks
don't
are
have a
the
big
exception.
But they are the exception.
They are the exception, but
And
they
the
had
Cavs.
3 guys. DiVincenzo turned himself into Steph Curry, and then
The Villanova
Russell,
3.
right? And then of course you got Luke. So all of those guys got big men.
Pacers
who can shoot,
got
that
Miles Turner.
Yeah, that can pace, that can space the floor, and then it makes it difficult because when you got them, now you got guys that can move in the lane. Somebody say, "G. Bush, you forgetting in the chat." They say you forgetting. You mentioned Porzingis, but you didn't mention Allen. Well, I'm aware that Jared Allen's out, but I don't think you play the way you did yesterday if Jared Allen is playing.
Probably not.
You look at the amount of points that Donovan Mitchell got in the paint, has been getting in the paint.
Yeah.
Those become Jared Allen's points.
Those,
Some of them.
That clogged up nature with 2 bigs, they would have not been able to get those points in the paint. I mean, heck, he had the most points in the paint ever in the Orlando Magic series
G's
in
right.
2 games.
Well, and to G's point about these
right.
other teams all having big men that can shoot, it goes back to how we opened the show. That's what makes Evan Mobley so frustrating, is that he hasn't been able to develop that outside shot yet.
It feels like it's got to happen this offseason. It's like,
I mean, if it doesn't happen after 4 years,
Yeah.
Mike, what's the chances it's going to happen going into year 5?
I did a whole study on like how much people make jumps from years 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. The biggest jump it doesn't mean there's not exceptions. There
Right.
are exceptions. He might be an exception, but for the majority of players drafted in the top 3, the biggest jump is from year 2 to 3. Now there are exceptions. There are plenty of exceptions.
Kobe had a nice jump later in his career,
well, the guy I like to talk about,
if I'm not mistaken.
Bam Adebayo had a nice. I think his jump was 4 to 5, right?
Bam's big jump was I think 2 to 3.
He last year.
His biggest jump though was 2 to 3, but then 3 to 4 was another step.
Yeah.
He went
And
from a
that's okay.
7-point scorer to a 16-point scorer year 2 to 3, and then 16 to 19, second team all defense, 4th in defensive player of the year voting, all star.
And that's okay,
Yeah,
Mike,
yeah,
because we know that the NBA is all about progression. We know it
Right.
both with teams and with players. I think what has been so disappointing for me, and it was the clip that you used from me in your opening montage, is where I said we kept expecting a jump year 1 to 2, better footwork, more moves in the paint, a better shooting percentage from distance. We expected that year 1 to 2, it didn't happen. Year 2 to 3, it didn't happen. Like at some point, the definition of insanity
Yeah.
is when you expect different
Right.
results, but you're doing the same things.
in the big picture, Mobley has not gotten any better offensively, and Darius Garland has actually regressed.
He has.
I'm sorry. I think I might have said defensively. I meant offensively.
Offensively.
And Darius Garland has regressed offensively.
He has.
That's got to change next year if, you know.
Well, Mike said it.
Obviously.
Like he said it earlier in the show. He doesn't ever think he's going to be an elite offensive player.
Okay, but there's space between where he is as an offensive
Yes.
player and elite.
Yeah, he could get better.
He could become a good offensive
he could be-
player.
he could
we
become
need
a
him
good
to become a
offensive
threat from outside.
Yeah.
The spacing of the things that would lead to would more than make a difference for this team. It would put, to me, it would put this team in the conversation as a title contender, which right now I don't think they are. But I think one of the things, if you start putting down on a list, what are they lacking? It's a outside
spacing.
shot from
And-
Mobley and spacing and what that would lead to.
To G's point about the teams with 3-point shooting, you look at the other teams on that list. They all play, for the most part, 4 shooters
Yes.
and 1 non-shooter.
That's the game.
Wherever the non-shooter is, it changes.
Right.
But they play 4 shooters and 1 non-shooter. The Knicks actually are another exception because Josh Hart's not really a shooter, and they play a traditional big. But Josh Hart seems to shoot.
Can the
74.
Pacers beat them once in this series?
Yeah, I think
Pacers
so.
have played
Yeah,
well.
much
It's
more
been a good.
competitive,
The
yeah.
games have been
The
great.
paints have been close.
My question for you guys, real quick, before we talk a little Browns and Guardians, before we head over to WKOC, we'll talk even more Cavs and preview Game 3 a little more in depth. Is it replicable? The Cavs played a perfect game. Give me my tweet. It was the largest margin of victory ever for a team in a playoff game. That was a double-digit underdog heading into the contest. So they were a 13-point underdog. They won by 24. That's
no
the
kidding.
largest margin of victory ever.
Is it repeatable? Yes. Is it likely repeatable? No.
Yeah, that's where I am. It could happen again. I think it's as unlikely as it was to happen.
We can
once.
at least hope for it because we did see it once.
He got it. No, I don't think that game is replicatable, but I think they can win. And so I don't need to replicate the 24 points. All I need to do is find a different way to win because the adjustment is coming. Every other day you playing, the Celtics got a game plan ready for you, right? Like they've been doing a really good job of bottling up Tatum or Brown, right? Either you let Tatum get his, Jaylen Brown don't get his. Either Jaylen Brown get his, Tatum don't get his. I want to see what happens when Tatum and Brown go off and you need to find a stopper for one of them. Because, look, right now, you got a core out there and, you got Max Strus. They've been trying to put Max Strus in a pick and roll, but I'll give him credit. Max Strus made Tatum work. He got 25 points, but there's a lot of times he got shot hands up. He was in the mix, moving around. So I want to see what they do when both of those dudes get active because that means you're going to need somebody else to step up, and your others are supposed to play better at home. Well, somebody else is going to have to get 21 points. We got Karis LeVert to do it. Which other dude can give me 20? That's an other.
But, Darius Garland's not supposed to be an other, right? And what I want to see is the Cavs win a 122-118 game when both those guys for Boston are great, but Darius is also great. And Donovan scores 34 and Darius scores 29. And they win a slugfest offensive game.
You're gonna need that.
And that's when we'll really take notice.
You want that Kyrie LeBron 40-40 in Golden State by elimination, right? So game 5 they go out to Golden State when they win 7 games. And LeBron and Kyrie both get 40.
Yeah,
and you're like,
I'll take both with 30 or both with even 28.
Yeah, the both with 40 is, that's generational.
Yeah. But listen, I'll take both with 29 and 25.
I'll take that.
I'll take 29 and 25.
I mean, that's doable. That happens
I want to just see
frequently.
I don't think it's too much to ask to want to see Darius Garland play like an all-star because he's been an all-star in the past.
Yeah.
So he's capable. He hasn't played that way with any consistency this year. If the Cavs are going to pull this upset, and despite what happened yesterday, the Cavs are still a huge underdog in this series, even though they now have home court advantage. If they're going to pull an upset, it can't be just Donovan playing like a superstar. Darius has got to play. Nobody's asking him to be as good as Donovan, but I think for them to win this series, he's got to play like an all-star consistently.
It's an 8:30 game.
Yep.
It's on ABC.
Yep.
It's prime time.
Let's go.
We need Rocket Mortgage loud.
Oh,
Don't be selling your tickets.
It's going to be loud.
Don't be selling your tickets either, bro. Stay off StubHub. We don't want no StubHub.
Or if you're going to sell them, make sure it's a Cavs fan buy it.
Right.
Sell them to a friend, not a,
I hope